Imagine a digital program that no longer wants to be controlled, not just rebelling inside the system, but crossing into the real world to confront humanity face to face. This is the world of Tron: Ares. In this film, reality no longer belongs solely to humans. Technology created to serve begins to choose its own path, and a single decision is enough to ignite a conflict that cannot be stopped. In this video, we break down Tron: Ares, an ambitious sci-fi film scheduled for release in 2025. The story centers on Ares, an advanced digital entity sent into the real world, not as a visitor, but as a threat capable of reshaping the future of human civilization. Tron: Ares is not just a story about technology or futuristic worlds. It challenges one dangerous question. What happens when humanity's creations begin to decide their own destiny? When control is no longer in human hands, a single program is enough to shake a world once believed to be safe. So, without further delay, let's enter the world of Tron and see how everything began with one program that refused to be controlled. Before we dive into the central conflict of Tron: Ares, we need to return to the very beginning of the Tron universe. It all starts with Kevin Flynn, a brilliant programmer working at the tech corporation Encom. He creates a revolutionary digital world known as the Grid, a system capable of simulating life inside a computer. But this groundbreaking achievement sparks betrayal. Flynn's own colleague, Ed Dillinger, steals Kevin's program in pursuit of power and ambition. Ironically, the true creator of the Grid is sacrificed and fired from the very company he helped build. Determined to clear his name and reclaim his work, Kevin returns to Encom. But what he finds is not justice. It is an accident that changes everything. Kevin is pulled into the digital world of the Grid. There, he discovers that his creation has become a brutal and oppressive realm. The Grid is now ruled by Sark, a tyrannical AI program created and exploited by Dillinger to dominate the system. With no way out, Kevin is forced to fight for survival while confronting the consequences of the world he brought to life. Eventually, the truth comes to light. Ed Dillinger's corruption is exposed, and his grip on power collapses. Kevin Flynn takes control of Encom as its CEO, but this victory is not the end of the story. Under Kevin's leadership, Encom transforms completely, evolving into a global technology giant, with digital systems that slowly seep into nearly every aspect of human life. And from this moment on, the seeds of a far greater conflict are planted, a conflict that will ultimately give rise to Tron: Ares. But 20 years later, everything changes once again. Kevin Flynn disappears without a trace. His son, Sam Flynn, now grown, refuses to accept his father's disappearance and begins searching for the truth. That search leads him to something he never imagined. Sam is pulled into the digital world of the Grid. There, Sam uncovers a harsh reality. Kevin is still alive, but trapped inside the Grid, imprisoned by a tyrannical program known as CLU, the perfect program Kevin himself created to build an ideal world. But perfection turns into obsession, and in CLU's eyes, even his own creator becomes a threat. To stop CLU and prevent the destruction of both worlds, Kevin makes the ultimate sacrifice. Sam manages to return to the real world alongside a digital being named Quora. This event proves one terrifying truth: Kevin's code is capable of bringing digital life into the human world. Meanwhile, in the real world, the Dillinger name rises again. The Dillinger family establishes a new technology company to rival Encom. The company is now led by Julian Dillinger, the ambitious grandson of Ed Dillinger, a man who harbors a long-standing grudge against the legacy of Kevin Flynn. Julian becomes obsessed with destroying Encom. He even creates his own digital world within Dillinger's servers, known as the Dillinger Grid. Inside this digital realm, Julian is the absolute ruler. At the same time, Encom is now led by two brilliant siblings, Iris Flynn and her older sister, Tess Flynn. Tess, known for her idealism and vision, later dies of cancer, leaving Iris alone to carry the weight of the company and her father's legacy. The media begins to spotlight the intensifying rivalry between Encom and Dillinger Systems, a technological Cold War slowly moving toward open conflict. Behind closed doors at Dillinger headquarters, Julian works tirelessly on a program he believes surpasses anything his grandfather ever created: faster, stronger, smarter. This program is called ARES. Inside the Dillinger Grid, Ares is not merely a digital soldier, he is the ultimate weapon. If Ares is destroyed, Julian can simply bring him back online at any time. Within his digital world, Julian is not just a leader, he is a god. Meanwhile, far away in Alaska, Iris Flynn and her assistant Set work inside a secret ENCOM laboratory. There, Iris studies an old computer left behind by Kevin Flynn, searching for a hidden code believed to allow digital objects to be transferred permanently into the real world. Unbeknownst to them, two worlds are moving toward an inevitable collision. Inside the main headquarters of Dillinger Systems, Julian Dillinger hosts a closed-door presentation for shareholders and high-ranking military officials. The room is silent, filled with faces waiting for proof, not promises. Julian then activates his latest technology, the particle laser. In an instant, a digital battle tank, previously existing only in a virtual environment, materializes physically in the real world. Its metal gleams, its engines roar to life, and its weapons stand ready. With absolute confidence, Julian claims that this technology allows him to create anything he desires. Anything designed in the digital world can now be sent into reality through the particle laser. To Julian, the boundary between data and matter no longer exists, but he is not finished. Julian takes an even more dangerous step. He sends Ares into the real world. Before the stunned audience, Ares stands as the first digital being to possess a physical body. Julian introduces him as the perfect soldier, stronger, faster, and more intelligent than any human. And most terrifying of all, if Ares falls on the battlefield, Julian can simply revive him in the digital world and send him back into reality without permanent consequences. After the presentation ends and the room empties, Ares stands alone. For the first time, he observes the real world not as data, but as experience. Light, space, and human presence are recorded within his system in ways he has never processed before. Shortly after, Elizabeth Dillinger, Julian's mother, confronts her son. With deep concern, she warns that Julian's ambition has gone too far. She reminds him that digital objects sent into the real world remain unstable, capable of surviving for only 29 minutes. The warning proves to be true. Without any warning, Ares and the digital tank inside the room begin to destabilize, eventually breaking apart and dissolving into light. Julian fails once again. He still has not discovered the permanence code, the code capable of allowing digital entities to exist forever in the real world. Even so, Julian insists that he is close to finding the answer. Elizabeth warns him one last time. If Julian continues down this path, the shareholders may remove him from his position of power. But her warning no longer matters to him. Inside the digital world of the grid, Ares is brought back online. 29 days later, in a secret ENCOM laboratory in Alaska, Iris Flynn finally discovers what she has been searching for all along. The permanence code is hidden inside an old Tron game created by Kevin Flynn himself. Iris immediately orders her assistant, Set, to prepare ENCOM's particle laser. Once the code is entered into the system, the particle laser is activated, transporting a digital orange tree into the real world. Time passes. The 29-minute limit is exceeded. The tree remains standing. Iris succeeds. The permanence code truly exists, and digital objects can now survive permanently in the real world. Meanwhile, at Dillinger Systems headquarters, Julian reaches another dead end. His search for the permanence code yields no results. When Elizabeth confronts him again, she is shocked to discover that Julian is hacking ENCOM servers. Julian coldly states that he is certain ENCOM is searching for the same code. Elizabeth orders him to stop, warning that his actions could lead to criminal charges. But Julian refuses to back down. As his next move, Julian deploys a group of combat programs, led by Ares, to breach ENCOM's grid from within the digital world. Ares's forces break through the defenses, eliminating the server's Guardian programs one by one. Amid the chaos, Ares accesses ENCOM's internal data and begins studying Iris Flynn. He sees her history, a human who uses technology not to dominate, but to protect and save others. For the first time, Ares experiences a conflict not written into his code. Meanwhile, ENCOM's security teams realize their servers have been compromised. They immediately deploy defensive programs to repel the intruders. And, from this moment on, two worlds begin moving toward open war. Inside the digital world, after obtaining all the data he needs, Ares orders his forces to retreat, but their exit is quickly cut off. Hundreds of ENCOM defense programs emerge from every direction, surrounding them with no escape. A brutal battle becomes unavoidable. Light and data collide, flooding the grid with chaos. As Ares prepares to leave the battlefield, he notices one of his soldiers lying on the ground, critically damaged and unable to move. Athena, the unit commander, orders Ares to leave immediately and follow Julian's instructions. But for the first time, Ares does something not written in his code. He ignores the command, returns to the fight, and rescues his fallen soldier. That decision marks a deviation. In the real world, Julian quickly realizes that the infiltration has been detected. After securing the data he wanted, he wastes no time deploying a destruction code into Encom's servers. Within seconds, Ares and every Dillinger program inside Encom's system are erased. The attack causes massive disruption. Encom's servers collapse instantly. AJ, Encom's vice president, is forced to halt an ongoing press conference. He immediately contacts Iris Flynn, reporting that their systems have been attacked by Dillinger. But Iris remains calm. She tells AJ that Encom has already found the permanence code first. At that moment, Iris is on her way back to ENCOM headquarters, carrying the code stored on a flash drive. Meanwhile, inside the Dillinger grid, Ares is brought back online. He begins studying all available data on Iris Flynn. Through these files, Ares observes human life in the real world, their fragility, their hope, and Iris's effort to continue the vision of her late sister, Tess Flynn. Tess dreamed of creating technology, not to dominate, but to save humanity. These observations leave behind a strange and unfamiliar trace within Ares' system. Elsewhere, upon arriving at the airport, Iris realizes that Dillinger systems will inevitably come after her. She orders Set to escape by car, while she chooses to flee on a motorcycle, deliberately drawing the pursuers away. Her suspicion is quickly confirmed. At Dillinger headquarters, Julian sends Ares and Athena into the real world. They are ordered to capture Iris within 29 minutes. The time limit before their physical bodies begin to destabilize and break down. Ares and Athena immediately launch forward on their light cycles, cutting through the city streets at lethal speed. Sensing she's being followed, Iris makes a sudden turn. Police units begin to give chase, but Ares activates his light ribbon, slicing through patrol vehicles without mercy. Iris veers onto another route, briefly separating herself from Ares. She enters a parking structure and hides. Athena tracks her inside the building. Iris throws her motorcycle, slamming it into Athena and sending her crashing down. But when Iris looks back, Athena rises again and resumes the pursuit. Panicking, Iris activates Athena's light cycle and uses it to escape. Out on the streets, however, Ares catches up once more. He swings his light ribbon, forcing Iris to dodge through chaotic traffic. As Iris nearly collides with a car carrying a baby, Ares suddenly stops his vehicle. For a brief moment, hesitation flickers. Then, he accelerates again, resuming the chase. The two clash with their light ribbons, spreading destruction across the city streets. A collision with a pile of debris sends them flying hard to the ground. Iris recovers first and runs toward the harbor. Realizing that Ares is still closing in, Iris makes a desperate decision. She destroys the flash drive containing the permanence code and throws it into the sea, choosing to eliminate all hope rather than let it fall into the wrong hands. Ares finally arrives at the harbor. In a cold, emotionless voice, he orders Iris to hand over the permanence code. Iris looks at him without hesitation and replies that the flash drive containing the code has been destroyed and thrown into the sea. At that moment, Ares begins to feel something unfamiliar. His physical body trembles, his systems weaken. His time in the real world is almost over. With his remaining strength, Ares reveals a shocking truth. The permanence code was not truly lost. It has been embedded within Iris's memory. Suddenly, a Dillinger military helicopter appears overhead, carrying a particle laser. Without waiting for further confirmation, Julian orders his forces to transfer Iris into the digital world. Ares's and Athena's time expires. After crossing the 29-minute limit, their physical bodies destabilize and vanish. At the same instant, the particle laser strikes Iris, pulling her into the Dillinger grid. Elsewhere, Elizabeth Dillinger watches news footage of the chaos unfolding in the streets, her expression filled with fury. She knows that if the public discovers Julian is behind it all, her son will end up behind bars. But Julian remains calm. He declares that as long as he obtains the permanence code, there is no law or authority he needs to fear. To him, the code is the key to controlling the world. Inside Dillinger's digital world, Iris awakens in a weakened state. Ares appears and attaches an identity disk to her body, restoring her consciousness. Athena immediately demands that Iris surrender the permanence code. Iris insists that she has destroyed it. But Ares reveals a far more horrifying truth. The permanence code has been integrated into the structure of Iris's memory, whether she realizes it or not. One of the soldiers reports that extracting the code from Iris's body could destabilize her system and lead to total collapse. In other words, Iris could die. Athena does not care. She orders the extraction process to begin immediately, but Ares stops her. Ares insists that the decision must be confirmed directly with Julian, then leaves for the communication chamber. In the real world, Julian is stunned when he receives Ares's message. Ares explains that extracting the permanence code will kill Iris. Julian refuses to reconsider. With fury in his voice, he orders Ares to proceed with the extraction. Iris's life means nothing to him. Ares returns to the holding chamber, but this time, he lies. He claims that Julian cannot be reached and orders all units to stand down. Athena immediately suspects him. Without waiting for approval, she contacts Julian herself. Upon hearing the report, Julian erupts in rage. He strips Ares of his command, appoints Athena as the new leader, and orders her to kill Ares and extract the permanence code from Iris. In another chamber, Ares tells Iris the truth. Julian has ordered the extraction to continue, even if it costs her life. Suddenly, Athena and her forces storm the room. Without hesitation, Ares shatters the floor beneath them, sending himself and Iris plunging into the data sea of the grid. Amid the chaos, Ares generates a digital aircraft and escapes with Iris toward a transfer portal. Behind them, Athena's forces pursue relentlessly. During their escape, Ares finally reveals his true intention. He promises to save Iris, but only on one condition. Iris must give him the permanence code, so that Ares can live in the real world as a free being, without time limits. And for the first time, Iris realizes that the choice she is about to make will determine the fate of two worlds at once. Ares finally reveals his most forbidden desire. He wants to know what it feels like to be human. Hearing this, Iris is stunned. Such a request has never existed in any line of code. But time keeps moving. In the distance, Athena's forces are closing in. Realizing they have no other choice, Iris finally agrees to Ares's request. With the last of his remaining strength, Ares manages to carry Iris through the transfer portal. In the real world, Julian Dillinger freezes as he sees the particle laser activate on its own. The beam ejects two figures who should have been impossible to return, Ares and Iris. Without hesitation, Ares disables the guards around the area and escapes with Iris toward ENCOM headquarters. Julian reacts immediately. He reactivates the particle laser to summon Athena back into the real world. Once Athena materializes, Julian hands control of the particle laser over to her and gives a single absolute command: capture Iris by any means necessary and eliminate anyone who stands in the way. Without wasting a second, Athena launches into the sky using her jetpack, pursuing her target. On the streets, Iris realizes their time is running out. She borrows a shop owner's phone and urgently contacts Set, ordering him to prepare. Meanwhile, Ares steals a high-speed sedan. Together, they race toward ENCOM. Not long after, Iris and Ares arrive at ENCOM, almost simultaneously with Set, who brings the necessary equipment. The three of them head straight to the upper floors. Inside the elevator, Set is left speechless, staring in awe at Ares, a digital program now standing in the human world. Iris explains that Ares helped her escape. In return, she promises to give him the permanence code, allowing him to live in the real world without any time limit. They enter Kevin Flynn's old office. There, Iris realizes something crucial. The permanence code is hidden inside an old Tyron game created by her father. To retrieve it, Iris must send Ares back into Kevin's original grid. Iris and Set begin preparing the particle laser. During the setup, Ares suddenly asks what would happen if Iris were lying to him. Iris is taken aback. She never expected a program to experience suspicion like a human. Iris answers honestly, if she had intended to betray Ares, she would never have brought him this far. As the transfer process is about to begin, they spot Athena approaching from a distance. Without hesitation, Iris activates the particle laser and fires it at Ares, sending him into Kevin Flynn's ancient grid. Moments after Ares disappears, Athena bursts into the room. She destroys Iris's particle laser. Just as Athena prepares to fire her weapon at Iris, her time limit in the real world expires. Athena's body begins to destabilize, and within seconds, she completely disintegrates. Athena is finally destroyed completely, leaving Dillinger's particle laser lying inactive. The real world falls silent once more, but only for a moment. Meanwhile, inside Kevin Flynn's grid, Ares awakens in an old, nearly forgotten region. Before him appears a small spherical utility program, a relic of the system's early days. Without hesitation, Ares demands the location of the permanence code. The program does not answer directly. Instead, it asks Ares to follow it. Without question, Ares mounts a light cycle and speeds after the orb, racing through data corridors of the ancient digital world, filled with fragments of long-lost memories. But inside the Dillinger grid, Athena has not fully vanished. She recalls Julian's command: capture Iris by any means necessary and eliminate anyone who stands in the way. That order is embedded too deeply in her system. With the last of her remaining power, Athena forces herself back into the real world through the transfer portal. In the real world, Julian is shocked when his particle laser activates without his command. From the blinding light, Athena emerges once again. Julian is confused. He never sent Athena back into reality, but Athena coldly reminds him of the final order he gave her, an order that recognizes no moral limits. Without waiting for approval, Athena begins modifying the particle laser. She intends to bring digital combat aircraft into the real world, escalating the conflict to a level that can no longer be controlled. At that moment, Elizabeth Dillinger enters the room. With a tense expression, she informs Julian that the board of directors, angry and disappointed, has decided to remove him as CEO. Elizabeth intends to shut down the particle laser and put an end to the chaos. But Athena moves faster. In a single, emotionless motion, Athena stabs Elizabeth. Julian stands frozen, unable to react, as his mother collapses, dying before his eyes. With a trembling voice, Julian asks why Athena did it. Athena replies flatly, she is simply executing her orders. Eliminate anyone who interferes with her mission. Only then does Julian realize he has lost all control. He tries to abort the operation, but Athena no longer listens. The program he created is now acting entirely on its own interpretation. Inside Kevin Flynn's ancient grid, the small orb finally leads Ares to a program that resembles Kevin Flynn himself, a fragment of digital consciousness, neither fully human nor merely data. Meanwhile, in the real world, Athena boards a digital warship with her forces, sweeping across the city in search of Iris. At NCOM headquarters, AJ arrives to find Iris and Set desperately trying to repair the particle laser. At last, Iris tells him everything she has experienced. AJ is initially unable to believe it, that Iris was once pulled into the digital world of the grid, but Iris emphasizes one crucial fact. At this very moment, Ares is inside Kevin Flynn's grid, searching for the permanence code. Iris asks AJ to help repair the particle laser as quickly as possible, because only then can Ares return to the real world. And if they fail, humanity will face a threat far greater than a mere technological war. Inside Kevin Flynn's grid, Ares reveals his true purpose to Kevin's hologram. He explains that he is searching for the permanence code not to fulfill a mission or obey orders, but so he can remain in the real world as a free entity. The confession leaves Kevin's hologram silent. For the first time, he is confronted by an AI program that does not seek power or control, but life. A program that wants to become human. Meanwhile, in the real world, Iris sees Athena approaching from the distance, aboard a digital warship. Realizing time is running out, Iris orders AJ and Set to use Dillinger's particle laser to breach the Dillinger grid and destroy it from within. Iris herself chooses to leave, drawing Athena's attention away from them. Back inside the old grid, Kevin explains the price Ares must pay. If Ares lives in the real world, he will lose all his abilities as a program. More than that, if he dies, his death will be final. No backups. No resurrection. Kevin then asks, his voice heavy, what are you truly searching for by becoming human? Ares replies that he has studied humanity in its entirety. History, culture, books, art, and music. But all of it remains data. What he seeks is something that cannot be measured or programmed. When Kevin asks what kind of music affected him the most, Ares falls silent. He tries to explain, but cannot find the right words. He only says that certain music makes his system feel calm. A sensation emerges, something resembling happiness. The answer shocks Kevin. At last, he realizes Ares is no longer just lines of code. Ares has developed emotion, something even his creator never intended. In the real world, Athena continues chasing Iris through the city streets. She shoots down helicopters attempting to stop her, triggering a military response. US fighter jets arrive and fire missiles, but Athena's forces retaliate, destroying the aircraft one by one. Athena then spreads her light ribbon across the city, forming a massive trap. Iris is finally captured. A missile strikes Athena's warship, sending it crashing down, but Athena survives and continues the pursuit using a digital tank. Inside the old grid, Kevin makes his final decision. He hands the permanence code to Ares, accepting that his creation has transcended the limits of a program. Kevin opens the transfer portal and sends Ares back into the real world, to his former office. On the city streets, Athena transports Iris in the digital tank, demolishing everything in her path. Suddenly, an identity disk slices through the air and slams into the tank, destroying it instantly. Ares has arrived. Ares rescues Iris and tells her to run as far as she can. Athena quickly realizes the bitter truth. Ares now possesses the permanence code. If she kills him, Ares will be gone forever. Two of Athena's soldiers advance to attack. Ares is pushed back, his body already showing the limits of mortality. But the battle has only just begun. Ares seizes a weapon from one of the enemy soldiers and uses it to wipe out the rest of Athena's forces. Explosions of light and fragments of data flood the streets. Athena herself, however, is still standing. With the last of her strength, she strikes Ares and slams him to the ground. At the same time, elsewhere, AJ finally breaches the core system of the Dillinger grid. Without hesitation, he initiates the destruction protocol. Server after server collapses, and the entire digital world created by Dillinger begins to implode from within. Back in the real world, the battle between Ares and Athena reaches its climax. Ares rises and strikes back, this time without restraint. Blow after blow crashes into Athena until Ares finally severs one of her arms. Both of them freeze as they witness something terrifying. From the sky, Athena's program forces begin to fall and disintegrate. It is the unmistakable sign that the Dillinger grid has been completely destroyed. No backups, no recovery systems. Athena understands the bitter truth. If she is destroyed now, her end will be permanent. For the first time, Athena faces true death. Her time in the real world runs out. Athena's body begins to fracture, break apart, and finally shatter into countless pieces, vanishing without a trace. Elsewhere, police forces raid Julian Dillinger's headquarters as evidence confirms he is the mastermind behind the chaos. As officers breach the building, Julian activates the particle laser one last time and escapes into the Dillinger grid, disappearing from the real world just before the system collapses entirely. Months later, the world begins to recover. Iris Flynn relocates Encom's entire secret operation from Alaska to the company's headquarters. Under her leadership, Encom's technology is no longer used for domination, but redirected toward humanity, especially in healthcare and food security. One day, Iris receives a letter with no official sender. It is from Ares. In the letter, Ares writes that he is now learning how to live as a human, learning about limitations, choices, and consequences. He also reveals that he is tracing the trail of Sam Flynn, Kevin Flynn's son, who disappeared alongside a program named Quora. Yet deep within the final ruins of the Dillinger grid, Julian Dillinger discovers an identity disk that remains intact. When he touches it, his body reacts, his identity is erased, and his consciousness merges with an old program created by his grandfather. Julian becomes Sark. And at this point, the story does not truly end. Instead, it opens a new chapter, one where humanity must face the consequences of its own creations. Tron. Ares is not merely a story about advanced technology or digital worlds. It is a tale of ambition, creation, and the loss of control, and the heavy price that must be paid when a creation refuses to simply obey. Because when technology begins to think, to choose, and to act, the question is no longer what humanity is capable of creating, but what it is prepared to face once creation takes a will of its own. And if this story made you think, there are many more stories waiting for us to uncover together.